Anyway, right. Okay, we're live, so I'm going to stop going on about my hair.
Talking about hair?
Yeah, that's probably not relevant at all, but yeah, it's just really annoying me. Anyway, back to you. Back to the focus. Right, Becky, welcome to Another Door Chats.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm really looking forward to this because I love this chat and this topic. We chat about it a few times. Drama. But you've got a really interesting take on it, and I just think people will get so much out of this. It'll be brilliant. But before we get stuck in, can you just give us a quick intro on who you are?
Who I am, what I do. Yeah, thank you, Eleanor. So I'm Becky Whitaker. I'm the founder of Quest for Rest, and I'm on a mission to create the happiest leaders. And my focus is on early careers coaching, the coaching for the people who don't normally get access to coaching. But I also integrate transactional analysis into my coaching practice and also into things like this. So sort of teaching people a little bit more around helping understand like what's going on inside and how that's actually manifesting on the outside. So obviously today we're looking at drama. So understanding a bit more what's happening inside and what that means for our work.
Love that. And I think transaction analysis is really intriguing. I think it kind of might intimidate people a little bit with the title, but actually when you really start getting into it, which you're going to share today, it's fascinating, such fascinating stuff. So why don't we dive in? You got 5 steps that you're going to take us through, which really helps to really understand this kind of drama that's going on in people's worlds. But maybe why don't we just start with drama?
Like what is drama?
Drama.
What we're talking about when we're talking about drama.
Exactly. Performance. Yeah.
Drama. Yeah. Getting on stage. No, not that kind of drama. No, it's that drama. It's those conversations where partway through you find yourself going, oh my God, how the hell did we get to this point? I was only trying to do this and now it's all blown up. It's those times where you're talking with someone and it feels like people aren't really meaning what they say and they're not really saying what they mean. It can start as just a little bit of aggro. It could be that little comment that you make and all of a sudden it's bigger than you ever intended, or it could be that full-blown conflict, but it feels like a drama. You come away from it and both of you involved feel pretty crap. This is drama. So this is what we want to reduce in our workplace, right?
Oh, how many of us get in those situations that you've just described?
All the time. I know I certainly did, absolutely. And even now I've been living and breathing transactional analysis for quite a while. I still get caught in it at times. There's still times when I feel it being pulled back in. But if we're going to look at actually reducing drama in our workplace, the angle that I kind of come at it from is around like holding up that mirror and having a little look at our own role in the drama. We can't do much about what everyone else is doing, but if we can understand and accept, even embrace what it is that we've done that's meant that this drama has happened, then we can start to make a change with it. But I think that can be quite a scary concept for people, this idea of like, well, looking at myself, because normally when we want to look outwards, right? What did you do? What was your role in this? But I think we need to learn to laugh at ourselves a little bit as we do this. Like, we don't need to look in the mirror and then come away and feeling terrible about the fact that we might have had a role in this drama. Just have a little laugh and think, yeah, maybe I'm not going to do that again. Maybe I'll try and do that differently.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, because I just think that tension at work is the worst. Like, we spend the majority of our time at work, and as you said at the beginning, these little things escalate. And how many times, whether you're in the office or at a location or wherever you're at, it escalates and becomes something, as you say, that we maybe don't take time and think, wow, what just happened there? We take time to go, well, they're this and they're that, and they should be doing this, and we escalate, and the drama just implodes. So love this. So you got your 5 steps. So what's the first step?
Yeah, step number 1. So step number 1 is to learn 3 rules to live by. So if you are familiar with I'm not going to keep saying transactional analysis. I'm just going to call it TA from now on, because I will lose my tongue around it at some point. So if you're familiar with TA, you might recognize these rules. And if you're not, then you'll learn them now. But even if you do recognize them, it's about taking it beyond, part of a theory and actually embedding this in your life. So the first of these rules is that I'm okay and you're okay. And what that means is we're on a level. We're both there together. Eric Burns says we were born princes and the civilizing process makes us frogs. And so, yeah, I like that, right?
Yeah.
Underneath it all, underneath those froggy layers, at our very core, we're okay. I'm not any better than you. You're not any better than me. Even when things are feeling like hard, even when you might not feel okay in the moment, underneath it all, you're okay. Separate from okay behaviors. So you can have behaviors that are really not okay, but underneath it, every person at their core is okay. So that is rule number one. And then the second rule is that we can all think. So we can all think, and we all have the ability to think for ourselves and take responsibility for our lives. We can't always control everything that's going on around us, right? I mean, look at everything that's happened with COVID over the last couple of years. But the one thing that is always in our control is what we think about what's happening to us and the way that we then choose to respond. So we're all okay and we can all think. And then the third rule is that change is possible. So we all decide our fate and we can all change our minds anytime that we like. So if there's a behavior, if there's something that you want to change, you can. And what I love about this theory, TA is from like the 60s. It's a little while ago, right? But modern neuroscience and all the latest research on stuff on the brain like backs this idea that change is possible up, because we now know that we can create new neural pathways in our brain right until we die. So all the way through our lives. So we've always got that opportunity to change. So step one, learn the 3 rules to live by. I'm okay, you're okay. We can all think, and change is possible.
That's really lovely, and it's such a simplistic thing to just tag on to. Do you get resistance from people with some of those? Because I imagine like that I'm okay, you're okay. We don't naturally maybe think that. I don't know, maybe I'm just coming at it from a resistant point of view, but I'm thinking people always think that there's something wrong with everybody else, not them.
Yeah. And like, let's think about like big characters that we think who are not okay. So I'll pull Hitler out the bag for this one, right? So if we're accepting as part of TA that I'm okay, you're okay, then we're also accepting that people like Hitler, behaviors really not okay. But underneath it all, he was born okay, and he always had the potential under all those layers to strip all those layers off and be okay again. So that's kind of the one where I think people meet the most resistance. But when you flip that on its head, it also means that when you are really struggling, we've all had those points in life, right, where you feel like you're at rock bottom. I can't get my words out now. You're at rock bottom. But what that also means for you is that underneath it all, you're still okay, and you have that potential to be okay in all the ways, feeling okay and actually okay at your core again. But yeah, it can just take a little bit of a, okay, is this something that I can get on board with, that I can see?
Yeah, I like that. I like how you said that, and opening it up for yourself for that possibility to see someone else differently is the key. Love it. Okay, step 2.
Step 2, making the unconscious conscious. So our behaviors are all habits. Our brain likes habits because like conscious thought is a really energy intensive process for our brain. So our brain likes habits, and our behaviors just become habitual. You walk into a dark room, you immediately put your hand out for a light switch. You don't think about this. The problem with that is that our behaviors are at the end of a sequence. So the sequence starts with a situation, something happens, and the first thing that's triggered is a thought. The thought triggers an emotion, and it's from that point that we then go on to act. Why is that a problem? It's a problem because we have over 6,000 thoughts every single day, and less than 5% of those are actually conscious thoughts. So all these things that we are doing, that we're responding to from thoughts that we haven't even realized that we're having. Think about workplace drama, okay? So an email pops up on your screen. All you've seen is the person's name, but your eyes are rolling. You can feel yourself tensing. And you're thinking, here we go again. Because you've prepared yourself. Your habit is that when you get a correspondence from this person, it's going to really wind you up. It's going to cause you grief. And so then when you open the email up, that's the mindset that you're approaching the email from. You're reading it as being arsey. You're reading it as being off. Might not be, but that's the habit and the behavior that you've then formed around it. And Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And that's exactly why, because of those 6,000 thoughts and all the actions that you are having on the back of those thoughts. And you just think it just happens by chance, but actually it's all going on back there. So step 2 is around making the unconscious conscious. To do that, we need to reflect on those dramas that we've had and actually spend some time and pull them apart a bit. What was it that happened? What did I say? What did they say? How did it start? What was the end bit? And then look at another drama. Are there any patterns here? Are there any patterns with the way that I behaved? Are there any patterns with the starting point? Are there patterns with the end point? What is it that's actually going on here? So making the unconscious conscious is step 2.
Oh, this is good stuff. And I think people might resonate in those moments when you were talking, I was thinking, God, how many times have you got in a messy meeting when everyone's talking at cross purposes? That's proper drama. Like, oh my goodness, what is going on with this project? There's so much pressure and deadlines or whatever's in that intensity boiling pot. When actually, as you're saying, a little bit more time to step back and look at what is actually going on, start unpicking it and slowing it down. I guess our natural reaction is to speed it up and get through something though, and try and kind of, find a solution quickly rather than slow down. So yeah, interesting. Brilliant. Love it. Okay. Step 3.
Step three is to then understand your position on the drama triangle. So Stephen Cartman created the drama triangle to explain what Eric Berne called games. So Cartman did this much later than Berne. And before this triangle, all we had was Berne's game formula, which we're not going to go into. It's quite complex, but of what it is that happens in these different drama scenarios. And Cartman pulled together this really lovely visual of a triangle. So if you imagine the inverted triangle, so you've got 2 points at the top and 1 at the bottom. And there are 3 roles then on this triangle that we play when we are in drama. So the first at the top, you have rescuer. The rescuer comes in their superhero cloak and they fly in. Don't worry, everyone. I'm here. It's all going to be okay now. I'll sort it all out. I can do it all. And in they come. They take everything off you. And they're coming in from a one-up position. They think, I'm okay. You're not okay. You're not okay. So I'm going to sort all this out for you. And they take away other people's ability to think for themselves because they do it for them. We also have the persecutor. The persecutor also comes in from a one-up position. I'm okay, you're not okay, but I'm going to look to apportion blame here. I'm a persecutor, by the way. Persecutor was very much my role. Secret confession. Well, it seems to be the role that no one wants to admit to. But I was very much persecutor, because you come in and say, how the hell have you let this happen? What have you done here? If you'd listened to me in the first place, it would have all been okay. Take on that persecutor role, looking to blame others. And then at the bottom of our triangle, we have our victim. Victims they put themselves in a one down position. So they see themselves as not okay and everyone else is okay. And they look at things like, it's all right for everyone else. Why do these things always happen to me? And they take no responsibility for the situation that they're in, and no responsibility to get themselves out of the situation either. When we're on this triangle, we've forgotten at least one of the rules. Sometimes we might have forgotten all three of them, but that is how we end up on the triangle. We forget either that everyone's okay, we forget that everyone can think, or we forget that change is possible. And this is how we then end up on that triangle. So once you've had a look at making the unconscious conscious, and you've started to look at the kind of things that have happened in your drama interactions, where do you end up on the triangle? Are you someone who's always saying, why does this always happen to me? You can't get out of it. You're always asking, not for help, you're asking for someone to do it for you. You're looking for a way out. Or are you someone who flies in and says, don't worry, I'm here now, it'll all be fine, it'll all get sorted? Or is it pointing the finger in the persecutor? And what happens is we all jump on the triangle in the role that we think is good and is noble. None of these positions are good and noble. None of them are any better than any of the other. They're all a one down position. And what happens is we kind of like dance around it a bit. And throughout the argument, throughout the drama, we'll change roles.
And I was going to ask you about that. Like, do you hold one role all the time? You swap them around?
You swap around.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and what happens is you then get chewed up and spat out the other side of the triangle in a whole new position. So you don't end where you started. So very often,
I've been in that meeting.
Is it landing? Very often for me, I start as that persecutor and I end as the victim. And the person who has been the victim at the start of my drama, they might have then gone to rescuer, then they've gone back to victim, and then they've gone to persecutor, and that's where they've ended, because now they're really cross with me because I'm trying to tell them what to do and I'm putting the blame on them, and it's not their fault at all. And that is how we then leave the drama triangle. So step 3, understand your position.
And I guess that's what you're trying to say, like you've knowingly stepped into this, take ownership of it, and when you're doing like the unraveling, like you said, when you're taking it back, you can really use that triangle to go, wow, what just happened there, and see the different roles. But I love the point you're making, like none of these roles you've just described are better than the other, because I feel like we always think that our position is probably better than the other. So they're not competing.
No, and no one is better. No one is coming off well anywhere on that drama triangle. But just to sort of explain something that you said there, and you knowingly go into the triangle. Drama is done out of conscious awareness.
Yes.
We jump on and we don't even realise.
Yes, okay.
But by taking this time afterwards to start reflect on it, this is when we can then have more control. We're making the unconscious conscious. When we've done that, that gives us the power to choose then, and we can start to think about, oh, hang on a minute, this situation is feeling a bit familiar. Okay, this is what happened last time, this is what I did last time, what can I do differently here, so that we don't end up on that drama triangle again.
Yeah. Oh, clever stuff. Yeah, it's quite nuanced, but I can see what you mean. So you're grabbing it. Right, okay. So can we now step into step 4?
Step 4, breaking the cycle. Getting off that drama triangle.
Getting off the triangle.
Yeah, don't go on it in the first place. So there's been a few different iterations of the more positive aspect of Cartman's drama triangle. The one that I use is AC Choi's winner's triangle, purely because that's another one that actually fits in with TA. It's another TA theory. So instead we have the winner's triangle. When we're on the winner's triangle, we're remembering our 3 rules. We're remembering we're all okay. We're remembering we can all think. We're remembering that change is possible. And whenever we remember those things, we can't be brought into drama. And so what AC Choi says instead of having a persecutor, a rescuer, and a victim, instead we have an assertive, a caring, and a vulnerable position. So instead of persecuting, you become assertive. And people, when they're being assertive, they are able to ask for their needs to be met in an assertive manner, but without bullying, without belittling. It's a subtle shift, but the difference that it then makes in the communications is huge. So I don't like it when you talk to me like that. What do we need to do differently here so that we can carry on having a really productive conversation? Rather than jumping into the, how dare you speak to me, like different. Same message is getting across, but one's going to hit much more effectively. One's going to allow for a really good conversation. And instead of rescuing someone, you move instead into the caring position. When you're in the caring position, you recognize that the person who is in what is now our vulnerable position, they're still in charge and they can still think for themselves and they are still capable of knowing what it is that they need. So instead of, out the way, I'll sort this for you, instead you come at it almost from a coaching point of view or a resource giving point of view. How can I help you here? I have resources at my disposal. I'm really happy to share those with you. You let me know what it is that you need, how I can support you with this. We're not taking over like we do when we're a rescuer. And then finally in that vulnerable position, and people who are in vulnerable position, they know that they're in a tricky spot. They know that they're struggling, but they're not forgetting that they're okay underneath it all. And they're not forgetting or discounting their ability to think and to get themselves out of the hole that they're in. And they know that they're able to go to other people for help. And that even if the other people say no, they're still okay. They're still all right. They're able to ask, though, for what they need and to take responsibility and ownership of getting themselves out of that difficult position.
So we're still in the triangle, but we're in it in a different way. Is that the kind of message? We're trying to turn the same situation, not changing the situation necessarily right now, but we're trying to change our role in it. Okay.
Because by changing our role in it could stop the drama from unfolding.
Yeah.
If someone is still coming from, let's say, the victim position, if you refuse to take on that rescuer role, then you're not going to get into the drama. You're not going to walk away having spun around this triangle and been spat off the other side. The winner's triangle is a really positive place to be. And you want to invite people onto that triangle with you. Let's come and have better conversations. Let's see how we can phrase this differently, how we can go about it differently, so that we're not ending at loggerheads, and instead we've all had our needs met.
That's a really nice visual. So I'm guessing at times, so it is a lot about ourselves as individuals and taking responsibility and watching what's going on. I guess to get the ultimate winner's triangle, does everybody have to be in that space? Or, you always get the odd person that's still going to be in the drama triangle. They're going to be the victim or the rescuer or whatever. And the other people may be trying to be carers, like that mix. So it kind of becomes, well, now I've got a star shape in my head because we've got
I like it. Yeah, okay.
I don't know. That's ultimate drama chaos in my head. But I'm guessing in that situation, it's trying to stick to your winning role, which you're saying kind of naturally will evolve people into a better space as the group kind of works through.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, this then links in nicely with step 5, and it maybe we can explain it as we look at that.
Yeah.
So step 5 is then around being empowered to change. So step 5, be empowered to actually make that change. So own your decision to change the way that you approach these conversations, but also owning the outcome. And what I mean by that is, as you've said, some people will still want to be in their old position, and they'll try and pull you back into your old position. Let's think about if someone is used to playing the victim and they are used to you coming and rescuing them, even though at the end of it, you come away feeling rubbish, it's a known situation. You know what you're going to come away with. It's one of those habits. And even though our brain doesn't, well, our brain, sorry, doesn't know that that's a really unuseful habit for us to come away feeling rubbish. So people will try and pull you back in.
Yeah.
And you have to be the one that stops and says, no, I'm going to stay on the winner's triangle. I'm going to remember the 3 rules. I'm going to invite you to come and play on this triangle with me instead, and we can have a different conversation, because ultimately this is about your drama, you and your drama. The other person may still end up feeling some kind of drama. It won't be true drama in terms of like TA terms of drama, because you haven't engaged with them.
Yeah.
You haven't gone and played the role that they want you to play. But eventually, usually what happens is people look and go, oh, there's a permanent change here in this behavior, and I'm seeing how it works with other people. Maybe when now, I don't know, when you've gone from rescuer to caring, they're not being mean by saying to me, what is it that you need? Oh, actually, they're trying to empower me. Okay. Yeah, I can get on board with that. I like that feeling of being empowered and of being able to think for myself. And I'm no longer scared of the way that they're going to respond, because I see that actually when I say what I need, they're responding in a positive way, in a fair way. So be empowered to change and own that. And look, as I said at the start, I still get drawn in. There's still some people and some situations, and I feel it physically now. It's like I can literally feel it in my body that I'm being pulled. And I almost do make that conscious decision of, yeah, I'm going in. Off I go. But if that happens, like, be kind to yourself, because you're human.
Yeah.
But celebrate the fact that you noticed you ended up on the triangle.
Yeah.
And then reset again for next time. And the more you practice this, the more you try to remember those 3 rules and to stay away from that triangle in the first place, stay on your nice winner's triangle, the more success you will have with it.
Whoa, incredible. Now, I've got pictures in my head. I know we were talking about work, but personal life as well. Oh my God, so much
It all
drama.
links, right?
I mean, I don't have too much drama, but I'm thinking, how many times do we get kind of dragged in on a personal level as well, don't we? Families and also we just step right in, don't we?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You could look at families dramas, and you'd be able to plot everyone on. And what will probably be happening for people here is they'll be able to recognize everyone around them. They'll be thinking, oh, my mum's a rescuer. My mum is a rescuer. My mum's a rescuer. My dad's a persecutor. But you need to hold that mirror up as well. Where are you?
Yeah.
What is it? What behavior are you inviting? Oh yeah, maybe you don't want to do that so much anymore. Maybe you want to start making those subtle changes.
Amazing. Right. Becky, that was amazing. And you did such an amazing job on such a complex topic, which I studied a little bit, but it kind of intimidated me. It was very complex and I like simple things. So you have just done an amazing job at making that sound so simple and little things to watch out for that you can do already. But how do you sort of work with this? Do you work with teams and there's a process, or I'm just thinking like in the world of work, how does it come alive? Because it is an individual thing. You have to do a lot of inner work, but I'm guessing it could help teams. And you used it yourself at the beginning. Could be quite humorous if you're all kind of up for sharing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just going down the wrong path here, but is that something you do? How does it work in the workplace?
Yeah, so it can do it in twofold. One, through the one-to-one coaching. Sometimes people bring this and we work.
It could be quite personal. Some of this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It can run pretty deep. But yes, also with teams. So if you think, if you're able to make a change as an individual, that's great. But there's still other people who are maybe wanting to play on that triangle. When you've got a whole team who can buy into understanding this language, understanding what happens, the causes behind the behavior, and start to try and work differently together, to get rid of that drama. You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It takes an incredible amount of trust within your team to be able to do that. But yeah, as you said, I like to try and keep it quite light. It doesn't need to feel hard and heavy. It doesn't need to be lots of finger pointing. And it can just be a raising an awareness and then looking at how are we actually going to make that work for us in this nice group team scenario.
Incredible. Well, thank you so much, Becky. Where can people find you if they want to know? I was going to say want to know more about drama. That's probably not the thing. Don't want to know about drama.
How might
drama? Yeah. Where can people find you?
So they can find me. My website is www.questforest.co.uk. That's the number 4 for Est. You can drop me a line anytime. Rebekah. Rebekah's spelled a bit funny, but I think it'll be on
we'll put
this. So it's Rebekah at questforest.co.uk. Or I'm on LinkedIn. Rebekah Whitaker. There's not very many of us with a KAH and 1 T in Whitaker, so I'm probably quite easy to find. And also, I've also got a podcast, In Pursuit of the Better You podcast, and that's available on all podcast players. So you can find me there too.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. That was incredible. Thank you so much. Weirdly, I feel quite relaxed. I feel just listening to you, I feel like there's, a little air of hope, because I think what you're doing is swapping that tension in the air to something so much more positive, but without just ignoring the sort of intricacies that go on there that sometimes is difficult to navigate. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Have you got any questions for Becky, Catherine? Any intrigues before we go? Lots to think about. Yes. I think the biggest thing to think about is Becky's counsel that we probably have to look to ourselves first. It's always the hardest, isn't it? We always like to kind of think it's somebody else's problem, probably not ours.
It is always the hardest, but it's where it's most effective. There's nothing that you can do about anyone else's behaviour. But what you can do is give them the best possible chance of responding really well to you by being in control of your own behaviour. And that's all you can do. So any kind of change that we want to make, it's always got to start with us.
Hard to hear.
I know.
Kathy, you just summed it up. Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, we got to do the work. Okay, that's fine. But I feel like you'd make it fun. So I'm still open to that. That's good. Thanks so much, Becky. That's been brilliant. You take care.